This next question, I was pretty certain somebody was messing with me, and I actually hope that they are, because when I read it to you, you will instantly know how I feel about it. Paul, should I really talk to multiple buyers, or can I just go exclusive with the one that I like the best? Now, I feel like sometimes I'm a broken record when I talk about running tight, quiet, confidential processes. I don't imagine a scenario where anyone should just pick the buyer that they'd like to go exclusive with. And like I just said a few minutes ago, buyers have to earn exclusivity. Giving somebody exclusivity, you're trading something of value. You don't give that away for free, right? They have to earn that. And the best way to earn that is to make them compete for that. Now, there is a world, and I have seen it, where preemptive offers come in that make you say, it's not worth going to process. These do happen. They happen, but they are rare. Usually you have to make them, 99 times out of 100, probably more than that, you have to make them fight for it. So I can't imagine a scenario, I guess, if this actually is a real question, where I would answer you, just choose the one you like, give it to them for free, don't make them compete. Who cares? I don't know what else to say. This next question is from one of our young, budding junior deal makers who has sent me a ton of questions on LinkedIn, and I do appreciate your questions. And I told you I would answer as many of those as I can on Q&A sessions because I think other people would benefit from them, and I don't have time to respond individually to all the messages I get in LinkedIn, but I do appreciate them, so thank you. What is the most common emotional traps for sellers? Now, I had to think about this for a second because there are scores of emotional traps for sellers, and I can go on and on. And as a matter of fact, one of these days I will go on and on. I'm going to film a 2-hour session on all these emotional traps for sellers. But I would say probably the one that just hit me right off the bat when I thought about it was the act of falling in love with the buyer too early, right? They idealize their relationship with one particular buyer at the expense of all other buyers. In their mind, they've bought the second home, they're buying the boat. They just get too deep in love with one particular buyer who dazzles them and dines them and super sweet to them. And they think this is the perfect home for my business and they're going to pay good money for it. And I have eyes for no one else. That's probably the most common emotional trap. It might not be the most dangerous emotional trap, but it's certainly a common one. And I see it all the time. And it's my job. And now, junior deal maker here, it is your job to protect your clients and inoculate them from feeling that emotional rush. This next question is an interesting one, and I actually really appreciated it. It says, Paul, how do you keep your clients from overreacting when a buyer lowballs them? And I think buyers lowball for a variety of reasons, right? So one reason a buyer might lowball is that's really what they think it's worth, right? So it's not really a lowball. That's a legitimate business decision. That's what this business is worth to us. That's what we're paying. Another reason, if it's a legitimate lowball, might be that they lack information, right? So if a buyer is in a position to make an offer, they might not understand the industry or the fundamentals or the dynamics or the comparable acquisition statistics in a particular space. And so it might just be that they lack information. It could be that they're signaling weakness, right? That's one option. Another one is like they're testing you, right? They're trying to figure out if they're the only game in town, because how you react to a lowball sends information, right? The lowball offer in and of itself sends information. Now, in a vacuum, we don't know what that information is, right? I don't know if that's really all the money the buyer has. I don't know if the buyer just doesn't have enough data to make an appropriate offer. I don't know if the buyer is testing the market, but what I do know is it's one of those sorts of things. And so I have to infer from a variety of other activities what that lowball offer is telling me. Now, on the other side of the table, the buyer's trying to understand how you're going to react to that and what sort of information you're going to convey. And so I always tell all of my clients and folks who aren't my clients. And now I'm telling you that you get a lowball offer, silence is power in this particular case, and calm is leverage. You want to naturally react to a lowball. Do the opposite. Don't react to it. Be silent. Be very calm, cool, and collected. Make the other side wonder. If you don't react to a lowball offer, it's not going to put you on tilt. It's not going to throw you off. I would say just practice calmness. This next question actually comes from a current client. It's a guy who I've known for 8 years. I think very, very highly of him. He's a brilliant businessman. He's built a great business. And he said to me, Paul, why do I feel the need to win this negotiation, even though I like the buyer? Like, why do I feel like I have to power through and win at every point? And a lot of this, I think, comes down to the fact that his identity is on the line. You know, a lot of guys, their identity is tied to the business. And, you know, founders are used to being in control. And now in an M&A deal, they're being judged, they're being dissected, they're being just measured. And I think it's very, very difficult. And I always say it's obviously important to get the absolute most you can from a transaction, but you know, you're not trying to dominate in a negotiation. Really what you're trying to do is design a future that you really want to live in. So you don't have to win every single point. And you need to be very self-aware and ask yourself, when am I trying to win just for winning's sake? And when is this getting in the way of my best interest or the future I'm trying to design for my family and myself? That's what I think it is in a nutshell. You know, in closing, that same client asked me, and he has a lot of great questions. He said, how do I protect myself from getting emotionally attached to the outcome? So he's dealing with, like, he's got to win at every turn, and now he's being dissected in the deal. But he's focused on this outcome, right? So he gets attached to it. And usually when clients have this sort of feeling, I'm always like, you know what? Detach from the outcome, but attach to the process. So James Clear wrote that book, Atomic Habits, and he talked about, you know, if you want to lose weight, you can say, you know, 90 days from now, I'm going to lose like 5 kilos or make up whatever the number is. And when you're always focused on that particular goal and the outcome, you're actually not focused on the process itself. And the process is like, I got to get up and eat a healthy breakfast. I have to get up and go to the gym. I have to do all these sorts of things. And a sell-side process is very much like that. You can attach to the process and make sure that you're doing everything correctly or the best way in the process. And then the outcome will kind of take care of itself. If you've got a good business and you're in a good market and you run a tight process, and if you follow that script, being attached to the process, making sure you're doing the process right, don't get skewed or don't get pushed away from, don't get attached to somebody else, don't get emotionally involved with the buyer, just focus on the process and let the process do what it's supposed to do. That outcome will take care of itself. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate the comments on YouTube. I appreciate the messages that I get on LinkedIn. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and feel free to leave a question below. I'm Paul Giannamore, and I'll see you on the next one.